Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 297 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live, as always, from YouTube. But I need to say that because even though all of you probably are aware that these are done live on YouTube, there may be a few newcomers to the channel, so forgive me if I go through the usual things at the start of each video. Please consider subscribing to this channel if you haven't already done so, and please consider supporting my work through Ko-fi. You will find information about how you can do that in the video description below. First comment today goes to somebody who reckons they're on Christmas Island. Is that true? I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't be true, but I'm not sure anybody's told me that they're on Christmas Island before. And it's DJ saying hello from Christmas Island. A huge hello to you as well. What time is it over there? I've got no sense of what the time zone must be there. Pradeep is here as well. Otis is here saying good evening all. Hope you're doing well, Mr. P. Pure Oz says, I used today to get organized and thus reacquainted myself with my collection. Always a good thing. And I get to watch a Persolaise live stream. Fantastic. And Otis says, I've had to move all my fragrances into a drawer away from the sun. It's a sad day. Well, it's not a sad day for your fragrances because you'll be looking after them much better by doing that, won't you? Okay. For the benefit of those of you watching live, the plan for today is that we are kind of bringing this particular season, if you want to call it that, of Love at First Scent to a close. We have got 3 episodes back to back for you. A single perfume review on this one. Then we'll come back a few minutes after we finish this episode with another single perfume review. And then we will come back for the third and final video for today, which will be a top 10, but a top 10 with a difference. It's going to be a brief top 10 as opposed to a feature-length top 10. And tomorrow, of course, tomorrow being the 17th of July, at this time, we have got part 2 of our interview with Renaud Salmon, the creative director at Amouage. But I think I'm going to say all my goodbyes and send you my, give you my good wishes for the summer today at the end of these videos, as these are going to be perfume review videos, rather than doing it at the end of an interview. And then we will have a long break from Love at First Scent, but I can tell you that I have been a very, very diligent and conscientious boy and have made sure that you've got at least one blog review coming up on persolaise.com, at least one every single week. So don't say I'm not being good to you. DJ saying, need to ask the Amouage man why they chopped the original Attar line. We'll come back tomorrow and ask him. Okay, 40 degrees in Saudi Arabia, says VBS221. Yeah, but that's kind of low for Saudi Arabia at this time of year, isn't it? It must get to about 47, 48 degrees. And Joanna says, I'm melting in London. Yeah, we might come back to that in the third video, but we need to get on because the subject of this particular episode is a brand new release from Diptyque. As you can probably... Oh, there you go. That's a good shot of it there. It's called Opsis, which I think is rather an evocative name for a perfume. Let's get this out of the way first. I love Diptyque, says Rich Mitch. Rich, I mean this in the nicest possible way, but now I never know with a comment like that if you're being a little bit sarcastic or not. It's probably a good thing if I'm being kept on my toes. Now, of course, you just saw me unsealing this, but I have smelt this before. I was very, very fortunate to be sent a preview lab sample thing of it, because then I ended up writing about it for Harrods magazine. In fact, my article, which includes this one, is in the latest issue of Harrods magazine. And what makes this one special in terms of its release is that not only is it a Harrods exclusive, but it also marks the very first occasion that Diptyque have agreed to do an exclusive for any retailer, any perfume shop, anywhere in the world. So on one level, that's kind of special, but of course, on another level, that's neither here nor there. I mean, we don't get overly fussed about exclusives here. In fact, if anything, we get a little bit dismayed about exclusives or buy exclusives, because it means that not everybody can try them, right? Because they're exclusive. But that is certainly something that seems to be happening more and more in the retail sector. Shops, certainly high-profile shops like Selfridges, Harrods, want to have exclusives because, of course, retail is not what it was 5, 10, 15 years ago, and they want to do everything they possibly can to get people to buy from them, to go to them. Eric says, I just saw this announced, but I'm scared of the gold sticker. I bet that means it's Luxe. Well, let's spray it, because when, this isn't going to turn into a terribly lengthy video. It is a single perfume video after all. Of course, I know what it's about. I have got a very, very brief press release for you on it. It's composed by Fabrice Pellegrin, a supremely talented perfumer who happens to have done a lot of work for Diptyque. And it was one of these ones where when I initially smelt it, I thought, oh, okay, yeah, perfectly pleasant. I can see that it's doing what it says it's doing. But I have really grown to admire it a lot. And a few days ago, I reached for it. I decided that I actually wanted to wear it, which in all honesty, I didn't think I would ever do. Which sounds like I'm damning it, but I'm not, because not every single perfume is going to appeal to me necessarily, right? But I found myself reaching for it. Paradoxically, I didn't think I would when the weather was starting to become quite warm. And it worked really well because essentially, it's a somewhat unusual beast in perfumery because it's a very, very peppery iris. And it is as interesting and as good as that sounds. So what I'm getting straight away now is a very, 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 very marked, pronounced pepper note. To me, to my nose at the moment today, it's black pepper rather than pink pepper, although there is maybe a slight suggestion of that kind of rosiness or sweetness of pink pepper. And then immediately the iris comes through there, it starts coming through too. But because it starts with the pepper, of course, what that then does is seems to emphasize all of the most peppery facets of the iris. And pepperiness isn't something that we normally associate with iris. With iris, we often, we talk about powderiness, we talk about rootiness, earthiness, a certain austere funereal quality. But here, the iris is being presented as something energized, not like jumping into a shower and scrubbing yourself with lemon soap type energized, but it's got a dynamism to it thanks to the pepper, which I don't think iris normally has. Let's look at the press release, because I think you might be interested in knowing the sort of inspiration behind this scent. As you would, whoops, blotter fell down. Let's get the blotter. Apologies for the close-up of my head. Where's the blotter gone? Right, here we go. We need the blotter because we need to do a blotter update as well later. Let's get where's the press release? Okay. So it starts off with a very, very brief introduction to Diptyque. It says it's a luxury perfume house, a precursor of the art of living through the senses, where fragrance and art are integral to everything. Opsis, which according to this means spectacle in Greek, and there is a reason for this, translates into the elegant atmosphere of an evening at the theatre in 1920s London. This new eau de parfum draws its inspiration from a painting by Desmond Knox-Leet, the most British of Diptyque's founding trio. Entitled London, this canvas takes in a view of the stage from the wings behind the curtains. Under the heat of the spotlights, the excitement is almost palpable. The actors warm up, readying themselves. The soft rustle of costumes meets the murmurs of the audience. The powdery smell of makeup mingles with the musky perfumes of the women in the room. Light glints off the woodwork, and the play is about to begin. And all of that does kind of appear in this. And being a Harrods exclusive, you can see that they would want the scent to have a story that would in some way be connected to London, right? Diptyque's new creation illustrates this moment in theatre. At the heart of the composition, the ingredients become the characters on an olfactory stage, enveloping and musky, subtly powdery, iris, musks, and incense, enhanced by a bergamot reminiscent of Earl Grey tea, blended on the skin. An intoxicating story plays out in motion. They haven't talked about pepperiness, but I mean, to me, it's really, really prominent. The secret to Diptyque's singularity is the distinct chemistry, it says here, between the three founders: interior designer Christiane Montandre-Gautreau, theatre director Yves Queslon, is it, or Couslon, and painter-illustrator Desmond Knox-Leet. When they met, it sparked a chain of creativity that continues to resonate today, calling upon their imaginations and memories, etc., etc., etc. And then it ends with, did you know today the word opsis is used to describe the staging of a theatrical creation? It also refers to that which is visible or delivered to the eye. I mean, you can see that the etymology, things like optic, right? Diptyque, oh, they've got a spelling mistake in their own press release. That's novel, because it says Diptyque. Diptyque launches Opsis as a worldwide exclusive with iconic British department store Harrods, and it launched, I think, on the 11th, so just a few days ago. So literally hot off the press here. What are people saying? Cynthia is asking whether London theatre is spicy. All the time, absolutely. Well, but it's just peppery, and maybe that's why they didn't want to emphasize that note so much, and they talk about the bergamot and the Earl Grey. And the one thing that I think is important stressing about it, and is that, and you've heard me, you know, we say this kind of thing often enough, is that I wish it lasted a little bit longer, and I certainly wish that opening, that segue from the pepper to the iris, lasted a little bit longer. As it progresses, it becomes, but I suppose, more predictably musky, but it's still in a very attractive way. But then you see, I guess, what's attractive about what's appealing about that aspect of it is that it lends the whole, that kind of old world, turn of the century quality that they're referring to in the press release. So yeah, I was taken with it, and I'm now much more taken with it than I was at the beginning. At the beginning, it was a kind of, yeah, I can see what they've done here, works perfectly well, maybe not necessarily for me, but I am now thinking more and more that actually it might be an interesting one to have in a sort of summery wardrobe, because heat and pepper and iris, I think, go extremely well together. What have people been saying? Rich Mitch says, I recently got Iris Cendre by Naomi Goodsir, and I struggle to think of something being a better iris. Oh, but that range, the Naomi Goodsir range, is really strong overall, isn't it? Cole says, Opsis sounded very interesting when I heard about it. The Harrods exclusive makes it a bit of a reach for me, but I'm sure it won't last forever. I wonder. I don't know anything about that, whether it's, you know, always going to be an Harrods exclusive. And Pradeep says, is it heavy or light? I mean, it's definitely veering towards lightness. It's not a dense, oppressive piece of work, not at all. So if I had to choose one of the two, I would say light. So there we are, Harrods exclusive, Diptyque Opsis, and we will be coming back with one from a house that you will all be aware of. But I shouldn't really say any more, because then it won't mean anything to the people watching the recording. Okay, see you very, very soon. But thanks for watching this one. Bye for now.